Hey guys, what's up? Cardfight here, and today I'm here with a Dimensional Police deck profile. This is the Legion Stride deck that a lot of you guys have been requesting, and so here it is. Obviously, with the release of the extra booster, Dimensional Police got a lot of support, and they are pretty nice to use now, and the deck is not bad. So let's get right into the deck profile. So for the starting Vanguard, we run the new Cosmic Hero unit that most Cosmic Hero builds run. His skill is once per turn, Generation Brick 1. When your Vanguard, when this unit gets its attack power raised to 9,000 or more, choose a Vanguard and it gets this skill. When this unit attacks a Vanguard hits, draw a card. So basically, you're gonna put him behind your Vanguard most of the time, and then you pump it, so it gives the skill to Vanguard. So when it hits, you get an extra card, and it's pretty good. It's really easy plus. So yeah, you don't have to put it behind your Vanguard, but since you're probably gonna have like other cards in your rearguard circles, it's nice to have him in behind. Him being a 9k booster doesn't hurt the deck too much, but there's sometimes there are situations where it's nicer to have a bigger booster, like a 7k pump with the 4. But it depends on the situation. So next we run for Gallop. He is obviously new. I guess you guys call it the Stride bonus, or Stride Break, whatever you want to call it. Generation Brick, skill is Generation Brick 2. When this card attacks a Vanguard, and his attack is 22k or more, during this battle, he gets one more drive check. So he becomes a triple drive. And his Stride Break skill is, on your turn, when a G unit strides on top of this card, choose your Vanguard, it gets plus 4,000 power, and a new skill. Counterblast 1, when this unit attack hits, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. So basically, if you combo with this, with a card you shot on top, you can counterblast 1 to draw 2 cards if this card gets pumped too. So it's obviously, that's pretty good. It puts a lot of pressure on your opponent to guard your Vanguard attack. And which sets up for other plays later on. Like Sinbuster. Sinbuster, he is the Legion card that came out in booster set 16, I believe. And his skill is, when this card attacks and this card's in Legion, while this card's attack is 30,000 or more, your opponent cannot call Grade 1 or above units to the Guardian Circle from their hand. And then when this card attacks, and its attack is 20,000 or more, during that battle, this card gets a skill. When this card attack hits, draw a card. So again, if you hit, you draw a card. And since when you Legion, he'll be 20k, you pretty much always have the second effect off. So that, of course, it puts pressure on your opponent. Lots of on-hit effects for this deck, which is pretty good. So obviously, in order to reach those numbers, you're gonna need cards to pump it up, and the Grand Fire is one of those. Skill is Generation Brick 1. When this card attacks a Vanguard while it's boosted, you can counterblast 1 to choose 2 units and give it plus 4,000 power. It does not have to be your Vanguard, so you can pump this unit and give it 4k. What you might do because, you know, reasons. So you're gonna get your Vanguard 4k and this guy 4k, and then a lot of times you're gonna draw cards. Next, we run the new other card that came out in the booster set as a rare. When this card gets pumped to get its power added to 13k or more. When this card, choose one of your Vanguards, give it plus 4k and a new skill. When this card attack hits, your opponent chooses one of your opponent's rearguard and retires it. So again, it puts pressure on your opponent, because if they want to keep the rear guards, they're going to have to guard the attack. And I only run 2 because he's not as handy as some of the other cards that I run, but he's still pretty handy. You need to give him 4K first before you can activate his skill. So, and he can't manually add, so you're going to need either Grandfire or another card to pump his power up before he can use his skill to pump something. So yeah, but it's free, so it's nice to have. If you have an extra copy, if you have a copy on the field, then you can just pump it and it'll get an extra effect. So it doesn't really make too big of a difference, but it's nice to have that extra pressure. Oops. Next, we run the Metalborg card that came out in BT16. Kind of lost 1 when this card attacks. You may pay the cost. If you do, choose 2 units in your Vanguard circle and give it plus 3K. Obviously, this card is tailored more towards Sinbuster, but you can give it to your other cards, if other Vanguard, if you need. Yeah, he's more of like a backup for Grandfire, and sometimes when you don't Legion right away, when you don't Stride right away, for some reason, you can always get his effect off without having the generation break, which has happened in some games. So his effect is quite useful, and it doesn't require to be boosted. So if for some reason early game and you don't have any boosters, you can still proc his effect off. I'm actually thinking about pumping him up to 3 and dropping a Grandfire down to 3. Yeah. The 1K does make a difference, but sometimes when you don't have a booster, he is obviously the better option because you can still activate his effect. Next we run 3 Urubuster. He's the Legion mate for Sinbuster. Skill is when your Vanguard Legions. When your Vanguard Legions, choose one of your Vanguards and give it plus 4K, and on your skill, when this card attack hits, choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and retire it. His skill is pretty much like this guy's skill, except he activates when you Legion. So as you can see, there's like a trend of like on hit effects and stuff. So yeah, there's only so many times your opponent can guard your Vanguard before they actually take a hit. So yeah. Next we have Commander Laurel. Now this card obviously got nerfed to 1, and for obvious reasons, this card is very strong, especially when you Stride. If your opponent hits and you Stride, then you get 6 drive checks, which is ridiculous. Yeah. So we're running the Commander Laurel. Next we're running the other Cosmic Hero card. Generation Brick 1, once per turn, kind of lost 1, so last 1. Choose one of your choose one of your units, and that unit gets plus 4,000 power. Now this card, you can activate whenever you want for the cost of kind of last 1, so last 1. So it's a pretty easy way to give units power. He's handy when you have Commander Laurel on the field, because when you have Commander Laurel on the field, you probably don't want to attack your opponent first with like this guy in Grandfire, because then you'll have no rear guards to rest for Commander Laurel's effect. Oh wait, I forgot to explain Commander Laurel's effect. His effect is choose 4 of your Dimensional Police rear guards and rest them. And then when when your Vanguard attack hits, you'll pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your Vanguards and withstand it. Yeah. So obviously, very strong. Resting 4 units to withstand your Vanguard. It's pretty worth it when you have 3 drive checks. So, yep. Next, we're running the Stride Fodder. When you discard him for Stride, he counts as like grade 3. So, obvious reasons why we're running this guy. And next, finally, for the last booster we're running the other Metalborg card. When this card's called to the rearguard circle, choose your Vanguard, 2 units in your Vanguard circle, and give them plus 4K. This guy again, he works he works well with Simbuster, but his 4K also works well with your strides and stuff. So obviously when you call him and give 4K, it's pretty much the same thing as just keeping him on the field and pumping 4K, except you don't need the Soul Blast and you don't need Generation Break 1. Yeah. And he's better when you have Simbuster on the field, because you get 8K to your Vanguard. It's really handy card. A lot of people might be wondering, why don't you just run 4 of this guy and then like bump this, run something else instead? But I find this card is really useful. So, yeah. It's your early game when you don't. Whoops. When you don't have anything to boost your Vanguard, having 6 copies of Great Ones that can boost your Vanguard is extremely useful. Next, we're running 4 of the Grand Guard. He's the kind of perfect guard G for Dimensional Police. So you unflip the damage when you have another copy in the drop zone. And for the triggers, we're running 8 crit. These 4 are the personal triggers for Gallop. Running 4 of the Dimensional Police crits. And then we're running 4 draw and 4 heal. So, some people might be asking why you're running draws when you're drawing so much already in the deck. It's because the draws in this deck aren't reliable, since it relies on you hitting. So if you don't actually hit, then you can't draw, which might be a problem late game. So, yeah. For the most part, this deck is pretty good at getting hand cards. Let's get into the G Zone. So for the G Zone, running 2 X Tiger. I'm planning to bump him up to 3 when I get my 3rd copy from Aegis. But for now, 2 copy is pretty good. For the most part, I don't really use him anyway, unless you're going to use him for finisher or something. Because most of the time, I'm going to stride into X-Rogue instead. X-Tiger's skill is choose a card in G-Zone, flip it face up. When this card attack, it's a Vanguard. You pay the cost if you do. And your G-Zone is... Wait. This card gets 4,000 power for every face-up card in your G-Zone. And then if his attack is 45k or more, he gets extra critical. So his effect is not hard to get off, but a lot of times you don't really need it. I think of him as sort of like a Saint Blow skill, except not. A little bit higher requirement than Saint Blow. You need to have face-up G cards. He's kind of like a crossover of Blizza and Saint Blow, I guess, since he gets the crit. But most of the time you're gonna stride into X-Rogue, because X-Rogue's skill is when this card attacks. When this card attacks, and attack is 37k or more, and hits, you can draw a card, and then choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So obviously you can draw a card and retire something, so that's pretty much a +2. And if you get what's his face, Laurel off, it's even scarier. So X-Rogue is very good. His retire skill, your opponent chooses, so he chooses his own card to retire it. But for the most part, it's good anyway, because you get the extra draw. So combo with Gallop and stuff, you draw 2. If this guy gets pumped, you're gonna draw 3 cards. So yeah, very, very deadly card. Next, we're running 2 X-Falcons. Most of the time, you're not gonna use this guy, but you can use, if you have a field setup that you can use this effect, then he can be very useful. But most of the time, you're just going to flip him face up with X-Rogue. Which is why I plan to run an X-Rogue instead. Since he's pretty situational, but he's a really, really good card if you can get the effect off. Because his skill is, counter blast 2, choose a card in your hand and discard it. When this card attack hits, while this card's attack is 45k or more, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and put them in damage zone. So obviously, if you crit them and they're at 3, and then you pretty much win, since they can't heal that 6 damage that he would cause. But yeah, I have used this effect like once or twice, and I did win. So yeah, but most of the time you're probably going to get his effect off once, since he is really counter blast heavy. So, and the deck is pretty counter blast heavy. So yeah, it's very, you have to manage your counter blast. Next we run this guy, Dark Superman Omega. Skill is counter blast 1, counter blast 2, soul blast 1. When this card is placed on the Vanguard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your rear guards and put it in your soul, and then your opponent your opponent's front row for the rest of the turn loses power equal to the attack of the card that's put in the soul. What this means is your opponent's going to lose power. He is a very nice tech card because it basically pumps your whole all 3 of your columns. Yeah. Of course, you're gonna probably attack your opponent's Vanguard, but you know, you can just gain some extra power. If you let's see, if you put a grade 3 in your soul, your opponent's front row loses 11k. So obviously that's good, but there's sometimes you don't want to play your grade 3s, right? So, and if your opponent attacks your rear guards, you're only going to have your grade 1s left, so your opponent loses 7k, which isn't fantastic, but it's not bad. So he does require a little bit of setup in order to use his effect, but it's okay. It's not bad. Running 1 copy is okay. So yeah, this is a G zone. It's a pretty I guess a standard, except maybe running 1 less Falcon for a X-Tiger, but so far this G zone didn't really cause any trouble for me. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck. It's a fun deck. It's pretty, obviously, as I said before, it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. Your opponent's going to drop a lot of hard cards early game to try to stop you from getting advantage with your Vanguard hits. So, yeah. That's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching. This is Card Otaku, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!